You ever wonder why so many traders armed with what look like amazing strategies still end up losing money? It's honestly one of the biggest puzzles in the trading world. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible force that's usually to blame for this. Let's dive right in.
I mean, it's the question, right? It's the one every new trader asks themselves, usually after a really frustrating string of losses. They'll spend hours, days, weeks searching for that perfect system, that magic indicator, the one secret that's going to unlock all the profits. But what if the answer isn't out there at all? What if it's much, much closer to home?
And here's the twist. The problem for most beginners isn't a bad strategy. Nope. In fact, the strategy itself might be totally solid. The real issue, the one that's so much harder to spot, is bad behavior. It's all about that gap between what the strategy tells you to do and what you actually do when the pressure's on.
So to really get this, we've got to go back to the very beginning, to a phase I like to call the illusion of mastery. This is that honeymoon period every single trader goes through when they first discover a new system that just seems to click.
You know the feeling? This is what's going through your head. You're on a demo account, or maybe you're backtesting. The signals are crystal clear, the wins feel incredible, and the losses, they don't sting at all because, hey, it's not real money. You feel like you finally cracked the code. You found the one.
But, and this is a huge but, that feeling of mastery, it's an illusion. It's totally created by this sterile environment where there are zero real consequences. Your mind is calm, your emotions are on mute, so your execution is just clean and perfect. But this isn't real trading, not even close. It's just a simulation.
And then you flip the switch. You move over to a live account, you take that exact same perfectly good strategy, but now you're playing with real money. And instantly, something changes. This invisible force just activates and completely hijacks the entire process.
And this is the shift. You're not a calm, logical analyst executing a plan anymore. You're a human being, and you're literally fighting your own deep-seated survival instincts. Every single tick on that chart feels personal. Every dollar feels heavy. Logic just goes out the window and your fight-or-flight response takes the wheel.
Just look at this contrast. In a demo account, you're operating from the logical part of your brain, but in a real account, fear and panic suddenly become your co-pilots. You know, fear after a loss makes you hesitate on the very next signal. Panic makes you jump in way too late. And hope makes you break all of your own rules.
This is that little voice of fear when you've got a small, winning trade on the table. The strategy is designed to let those winners run, right? To capture the big moves. But your nervous system is screaming at you, grab that tiny profit before the market takes it back. So what do? You cut your winners short over and over again.
And here's the ironic flip side. That's the voice of irrational hope when a trade goes against you. Your strategy has a clear stop loss, a specific point where you're supposed to say, okay, I was wrong, and get out to protect your capital. But hope whispers, just give it a little more room, it'll come back. And just like that, you let a small, manageable loss turn into a devastating one.
So, what happens when these emotions completely take over? Well, that clean, structured process that your strategy needs to survive, it completely breaks down. It just devolves from a logical system into pure, unfiltered chaos.
You see, a professional process is simple, it's clean, you see a valid signal, you execute the trade, you manage it by the rules, you log the result to review it later, and then you just repeat. It's methodical, it's kind of boring, and you know what? It's effective.
Now, compare that to the beginner's cycle. Yeah, it starts with a signal, but that's where the similarity ends. Emotion immediately hijacks the whole thing. That leads to hesitation, which leads to panic, and the final step? It isn't a logical action. It's a random, impulsive decision that's born from pure fear. One is a process, the other is just a complete mess.
Here's something they don't tell you. Every trading strategy ever made comes with this hidden, unspoken rulebook. It silently assumes you're going to behave like a machine. It assumes you'll take every single signal without fear, that you'll always honor your stop loss, that you'll let your profits run, manage your risk perfectly, and stay consistent through both wins and losses. A beginner, they break all 5 of these rules, sometimes in a single day. So here's the bottom line. After breaking every single rule in the book, the beginner looks at their losing account and says, see, my strategy failed. But they never actually traded the strategy. They traded their emotions. They don't have a strategy problem, they have an execution problem, and they don't even realize it.
And this brings us to the core secret, the real light bulb moment that separates struggling traders from successful ones. It's understanding that you, the person clicking the mouse, you are the most important part of any system.
You could have the most statistically profitable, perfectly backtested, and proven strategy in the history of the world. But that strategy all by itself is completely worthless. It doesn't guarantee you a single dime of profit.
Because profit doesn't come from the strategy on the page, it comes from the flawless execution of that strategy in the real world under real pressure. It's your discipline, your patience, your emotional control, it's your behavior that actually unlocks the strategy's potential.
Think about it like this. You could give a beginner a pro's million-dollar strategy, and I promise you they will find a way to lose money with it, because their behavior is total chaos. But you could give a professional a super simple, basic beginner strategy, and they'll probably make money with it. Why? Because their execution is disciplined and consistent. The person always matters more than the plan.
So, where does that leave us? Well, the moment a trader finally gets this, everything changes. They stop that endless, frustrating search for a new system out there, and they finally start the real work of building the trader in here.
And this right here, this is the ultimate turning point. It's that realization that the strategy was never the problem, the trader was. The real question isn't, what's the best strategy? The real question is, can you build the discipline and the emotional mastery to actually follow the one you already have? That's where the real journey begins.